Like people have to be weary about anybody who goes through this much trouble to evade responsibility and financial liability.
Real life. If this ain't real life, this is AI.
If it ain't real life, just say real life street stars. You know what time it is. Yeah, no, Kirk Burrows, he had said that, Diddy had, put his hands on his own mother, from what
Yeah.
it happened long before the fame or long
Yeah,
before his notoriety.
during the first tragedy that made him famous, the City College celebrity basketball game that claimed 9 lives. Very similar to what happened with Travis Scott down in Houston for Astroworld. Isn't that funny? Isn't that such an odd coincidence? Diddy did that thing and 9 people ended up passing away at the end of it. Travis Scott did that thing and 9 people ended up passing away. Like it's the coincidences are so
You know,
interesting.
he no one got in real trouble for that. No one uh had to, I guess you could say, pay the piper in creating Bad Boy.
Hmm.
He knew to take the business and put it in his mother's name. So
Yeah.
therefore they could never seize those assets. Technically everything is still in his mother's name.
Kind of like how what is it, D4VD, the David kid, did after that girl came up, hacked up into pieces in his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came back home to Texas, right outside of Houston, and started turning over assets immediately while his PR team was lying, saying that he was cooperating with the police when the police have made it very clear as of late he has not cooperated at all, left the state almost immediately. So when he so-called moved out of the house um, on, what was it, Doheny, and now they've changed the name to Virio. Isn't that funny? Girl gets found cut up in pieces right around the corner from a rental property, and they literally changed the name of the street within weeks. Isn't that interesting?
Oh yeah,
They
no,
said he, huh?
yeah, no, that was that's not a coincidence.
I know. Like I'm just. I guess the reason why I'm bringing up certain things is because a lot of people are trying to make this seem like it's just a Diddy issue rather than it's an industry issue.
So let me ask, because him
Yeah.
putting his business in his mother's name and the U.S. attorneys trying to go after a RICO that he used his business as an enterprise to do
Mm-hmm.
these sexual deviant things.
Yeah.
Technically, if he's just getting, let's say, small payments from his mom, he's not technically using the business. Do you think that they barked up the wrong tree to even lose this trial based on him saying that, hey, I'm not even the owner of Bad Boy. I'm just let's say, an employee who just gets payments to do little small things. Shouldn't they have like realized that, or like noticed like, all right, we can't trace the money back to the owner of Bad Boy?
Well, see, that's the thing. That was for Kurt Burrow's case. What about now? Because Combs Enterprise, all of it is not owned by Janice Combs.
Uh,
His name is on stuff, a lot of stuff. Like a lot of these things that happen, it's not like back then it was Bad Boy, Combs Enterprise. There's a bunch of different stuff that falls up underneath that umbrella. And it ain't all in Janice's, it's not all in Janice's name. It's not. Good portion of it is, but not all. Like people have to be weary about anybody who goes through this much trouble to evade responsibility and financial liability. Because even if it's not all in his name, even if it isn't all him. Even if it were all in his mother's name, then that would mean that his mother is the one that's running the criminal organization, and she's been aiding and abetting his very sick behavior for decades.
Hey,
It sounds like they should have made sure that she was added to everything.
hey,
That's the case. Because if he's just an employee and he's just being paid for his services, then that means that all of this stuff was going on up underneath her nose, and there's no way she didn't know about it. She was
hey.
involved and present for too much of it. Like there's a lot of games being played, a lot of games being played, and there's no way that the federal government is just so green that they missed all of this. I mean, this is the same federal government that went after Al Capone, and even when they couldn't go after him legitimately for all of the things that they knew that he did. By the way, let's talk about that little historical fact. Part of the reason why they couldn't go after Al Capone the way that they went after at him in the beginning was because of all of the corruption, was because of the ledger with all of the judges' names who had been being paid off to throw cases, to turn their heads, all of the police precincts that were working in tandem with Al Capone. They didn't want to tank the government's involvement in all of the corruption. So instead, they went after him for income tax. So this way, they could stack up the years and put him in jail forever without having to expose any of the government. Wasn't that cute?
Hey, they run the system.
I'm just saying, that's history. That was another thing I thought that was interesting, that Jay-Z wasn't mentioned at all in any of this documentary. Yet
Not at
he was
all.
there for so much of it. Because right after the diddler beat the crap out of Steve Stout, the Jigga Man poked up on Rivera. Not long after that. All of this stuff happened around the same time.
Why do you think Jay-Z wasn't involved in none of this?
Well, I mean, I mean, he was involved in a lot of it. You mean why wasn't he mentioned?
Yeah, mentioned in the documentary at all.
I mean, there was a lot of people that weren't mentioned. Matter of fact, not too many people in the industry were mentioned who were there and present. Isn't that cute?
Very true.
They found a way to tell that story while they kept everybody else clean.
Jag, how come you don't think
Episode
fuck?
2 focused heavily on Tupac Shakur and the
Yeah,
East Coast, West Coast beef.
yeah.
They were saying that Diddy was technically jealous of Tupac and Biggie's friendship, of Tupac's success.
Technically,
Yeah,
technically,
technically.
I mean, they said it right. Diddy wanted to get down with Tupac. Tupac didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Nothing. He wanted nothing to do with Diddy. He was interested in helping Biggie. He was interested in promoting Biggie. He was interested in where that whole thing could go. He saw the promise. And I think he knew that Biggie was being taken advantage of. I think he knew that. But it was too late. He was already bought and paid for. It was good though for them to, highlight that one a little bit of history that, you know, Biggie was actually signed to Uptown. He was an Uptown artist first.
Yeah, coming after Heavy D.
And then how all they had was him to start Bad Boy, but they knew that it wasn't going to work. They were going to go out of business first. So they went and they got Craig Mack so that he could be the launch. And then boom, you see what happened with that.
Exactly.
It was all a setup. It was all a setup. It was all a plan. It was all a ploy. Um, you know, I don't think Diddy ever thought that Andre was going to fire him. I think he thought that because of the closeness of their relationship and how much Andre relied on him for so many things when it came to pop culture and the youth and bringing in the young people. I think he thought that he was, you know, he was always going to stick around. So, like, when he had to move around the way he moved around, he went, he went helter skelter for real, for real. And the truth is he had so much information. And when you look at the way he went to Clive, that was another thing that I thought was interesting. Clive was mentioned for all of 35 seconds.
Right.
Like they kept so much, like it was very sanitary, very sanitary.
What should they have said about how much more should Clive have been involved in that story, you feel?
What do you mean? He should have been involved in it a lot more. But then again, you start talking about Clive and you start talking about how Clive backed Diddy. Like people keep forgetting that Clive was 51% owner of Bad Boy.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a lot that's not being discussed or talked about when it comes to the financial breakdown on a lot of things. But you start having those conversations and then you kind of got to talk about the fact that, Whitney Houston passed away at the Grammy party and then all of the stuff with Ray J and Brandy and Diddy being the one to give the speech for Whitney at the party. Like, why?
That's true.
Why? Why? It was a lot.
They mentioned where the East Coast West Coast beef started because there was a shooting where Puff Daddy was at a club with Suge Knight
In
and one
Atlanta. Yeah.
mentioned
That
that
was
on our
interesting as
platform as
well.
well. Yeah, they don't talk about that enough as far as that what kind of ignited a lot of the beef between the two companies.
Where that all started, yeah, because what it really highlights is the fact that there was no East Coast, West Coast beef. There was just a beef between Diddy and Suge.
Right.
That's what there was. There also wasn't enough information speaking on the relationship with Zip and the ties to the Crips. There wasn't enough information on that either. But I thought it was very interesting how, for the first time, people were able to get their hands on the proffer conversation that Keefe D had with the feds regarding what happened to Tupac and Suge in Vegas on the night of the Tyson fight. That was interesting. You didn't think?
Without question. Without question.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, they said they had some footage that had never before been seen.
I mean,
Um,
you
I-
could say that, but I saw a YouTuber that goes
yeah,
by the name of Miss Low Down who was using some of that footage like a month and a half ago, attacking Gene Deal and saying that Gene Deal was involved in the hit on Big, which was wild. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, this is here in the documentary. How did she get her hands on this?
man, without question. Even them saying that for Big's funeral, for Puff to have used Big's uh his money to pay for his own funeral.
His
Um,
budget. Yeah, yeah.
his budget.
He ran up the bill on his funeral to put this big public show on, to put this big public show on, and then forced it onto his recording budget as a recoupable expense, which means who really paid for it were the fans. Because all of that money came from everything that the record company recouped. Like it's no different than the fact that Maxwell paid for Aaliyah's headstone, for her gravestone, because nobody did. Nobody bothered. Isn't that wild? A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that the tombstone that Aaliyah has was paid for by Maxwell, not even her own family.
Yeah, it says a lot. Even after watching even the Eddie Murphy documentary, where these celebrities are passing away with close to nothing. It's interesting that they live such a lavish life and then pass with almost nothing to them.
I mean, they live a lavish life and they pass away with nothing. It sounds like it was all for show. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like it was never theirs to begin with. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so funny. Like, people keep talking about, oh, this person's a billionaire, that person's a billionaire, this person's a billionaire. Why? Because it was written down on a piece of paper that they're a billionaire? Are you absolutely certain that they are? Or are they just given access?
Shout out Reallyfe Street Starz, nigga. Move. Hey.